The economy got this enormous status. It did not always have that, but over time, since about 200 years or so, the economy has grown in status. I will not explain here how that happened. That would be too long. However, everybody will acknowledge that we place the economy on an altar, something to be venerated. It has become some kind of a god. It has become so all important that I don't know if you all have heard of this meme. That's how they call it nowadays, a meme. It's the economy, stupid. That phrase was coined by the Clinton campaign in 1992. They had to come up with some catchy slogan for their campaign. So some said we should talk about healthcare, and others said we should talk about this or that. But then someone said, well, finally, it's all about the economy, so let's take that as the central approach for our campaign. That means that we find the economy so important that the presidential political campaign in the US, which is the avant-garde for the rest of the world, our northern star for how we should all think, decides to use it as their central focus. We believe that when we put the economy central, then we capture the voters' interest in an important way. I will be so audacious to present another meme against this one. Well, it has not become a meme yet, but maybe it will. That new meme is, it's the celebration of life, my friend. By that, I mean to say that the economy is there to celebrate life, which again means once we are provided with a material and physical basis to live, that's the economy, then we can develop ourselves further as a human being, as a humane society. So that is what I call the celebration of life. So we see that as a political society, we have put the economy on a pedestal. I think that's a mistake. We should put life on a pedestal. The economy is then something that should be subservient to life. So what do I mean by a celebration of life? Well, it's like a festive meal to which all people are invited. Not a celebration, a party in which too many of the world population cannot participate. Everybody is invited. Nobody is excluded. That is how I see celebration of life as my vision of the economy. Some people will think, oh, that's really very idealistic. To include all people, that's never going to work. Because we, that is, each one of us, are still stuck in the usual way of thinking about the economy that seems to be very much tied to a sense of fear for our survival, sense of scarcity, fear of not having enough. I must hoard, I must accumulate. Oh dear, if tomorrow I will not have enough. For some people, that even translates into grab whatever you can grab by legal or illegal ways. That is our existential sense of economy. And we are quick to legitimate such behavior. Do we not say when harm is done to many because of greed by others, oh, well, that's the way the economy works. Well, it is us human beings who determine what economy is. It does not have a life by itself. So, what do we mean by a festive table to which everyone is invited, all people can participate? Isn't economy that sense of fear where you need to exclude others, defend your privileges? As long as all sails well, we are still quite peaceful and we even want to share some. But as soon as there's a sense of threat, then that is the end of our tolerance and willingness to share. The issue of migrants may have to do with this. That, of course, is a whole topic in itself, but part of our stance in this matter may have to do with this sense of fear of our survival economically. So, how so? It's a celebration of life, my friend, inviting everybody. I understand that that is not so self-evident. This proposition needs further investigation, what it entails, and so on. But what I want to bring to the fore here is that this talk is not merely a social ideology, an admonishment to be nice for the poor people and being against capitalism, banks, and the corporations. When I say celebration of life, then it is more than that. It is a drastically different existential view on life, on the economy. And economy is existential. What else? So, if economy is existential, then it is very crucial how we feel ourselves at the existential level. If our existential basic sense is fear, scarcity, and lack of this and that, then that will determine how we think about economy. But on the other hand, if our basic existential sense is there is abundance, let's invite everybody. There is enough for everybody. And let's organize that everyone can participate. Then that results in an existentially different view on the economy. So, my book, Interdependent Economy, From Political Economy to Spiritual Economy, is more than a left versus right view on the economy. This view comes from a completely different existential sense of living, of being. And if we want to solve the present day conflicts, I believe we need to go that deep and transform our fundamental sense about existential reality.